Okay, so Gen 4. So I talked briefly about Gens 1 and 2 and about my time with them. So Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl, was my third Pokemon game. My third mainline. Heart Gold and Silver came after, which is my fourth. So you can kind of see my introduction to the series. And so Gen 4, I enjoyed. It was on the first console I ever bought for myself, the DS. So yeah, I may end up liking a few Pokemon, but you're definitely going to see that I am not favorable. Because of reasons. I never beat Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum. So yeah, I may be a little more indifferent and harsh to some of these Pokemon. Turtwig. I like Turtwig. Grottle. Middle stage itis. I really should stop having to say that. Torterra. God, I love this Pokemon. It was not my pick, funnily enough. It's not my pick of starter, but I love this Pokemon. The idea of, like, a garden sitting on its back. Like, they've definitely tried to redo this idea with, like, Dynamax Snorlax with its own, like, garden on its belly. And I guess, kind of with, Venusaur, they've tried to capture that idea. And, yeah, I feel like Torterra does it best. Because it doesn't try, like, overkill it, and it makes sense. Chimchar. I feel indifferent. Monfernape. It's middle stage syndrome. I don't really care. And then you have Infernape. I don't like Infernape for personal reasons, but I don't hate its design, so I'm going to be neutral on it. I don't like it because I like Piplup. Primplup is, again, middle stage itis, and Empoleon. Chef's kiss. Empoleon is my pick for the Gen 4 games. And that's the reason I hate Infernape, because for some damn reason, Empoleon is steel, Torterra is part ground, Infernape is part fighting. Does anybody else notice the balancing difference here? Anyhow. Starly, it's a generic bird. Honestly, actually dislike. And it's mid-form Staravia. They're both generic birds. And at this point, generic bird is kind of old news. But Staraptor I can appreciate. It is a good mon. It is, like, I think most people will say it, the first regional bird to actually be viable competitively. Though I never used it myself. Bidoof is meh. And Bibarel I dislike, and for a couple of reasons. One, it is a great HM Pokemon. But it's also a normal water type, and it's like, how can you be so useful and yet so goofy? I just don't like its design. Also, like, Hoenn is the worst when it comes to HMs. Like, if anyone remembers trying to climb Mount Silver, not Mount Silver, Mount Coronet, they know what I mean. Budju is a baby Pokemon that we didn't need, really, and I really do like Roserade. Like, if I'm not using Torterra, Roserade's my go-to grass Pokemon in this gen. I like Combee, and I like Vespiquen. Vespiquen's kind of like this weird one to put in. It's like, Vespiquen is a hard to get Pokemon, because you need the rare female Combee, and then you need to evolve it, and for all that hard work you get a bug flying type. Honestly, Vespiquen could have been a lot better off if it had been bug poison. Like, let's look at Vespiquen's moveset actually, just to make a point. Because here's the thing, like, flying just adds more weaknesses to bug types. God, I wish Bulbapedia had a dark mode. Okay, so it gets a couple of poison moves, a couple of flying moves. Oh, I put Jigglypuff in the hate tier, but to be fair, when I mentioned that, I had the stipulation that it's because of Smash Brothers, not because of Pokemon in particular. Jigglypuff is one of the hardest Pokemon to run, or one of the hardest characters in Smash 64 to run, so that's why I hate Jigglypuff. Mostly because she's a frustrating Pokemon. She's a frustrating character to play. But then I have my particular taste, so Jigglypuff wouldn't have gotten a too much higher rank if it wasn't for that. But yeah, it's like... Hang on, I'll sort it by type so it's easier. So yeah, it's like Vespiquen does learn a few poison moves, and I feel like despite the couple of like flying... Wait, Hurricane? Dual Wing Beat. No, that's not a move I recognize. And it's not really like it's particularly better at physical or special. Dual Wing Beat. It's a... Gen 7 move. 6 damage, hits twice per use. Each strike has equal chance for a crit. Hit again if the first strike breaks the substitute. Counter will only acknowledge the second hit. Actually, okay, it's a whatever move. But yeah, I guess Vespiquen like doesn't really care if it was bug flying or bug poison, but pressure and unnerve? What terrible abilities. For those who don't know, pressure just means that your opponent uses 2 power points instead of 1 when they make an action, and unnerve, you can't eat your berry. Yay. What useful abilities to have. Honestly, I feel like Vespiquen is due for like a rework, a rehash or something. Like we got the Sinnoh remakes, we got Legends, Vespiquen didn't get anything, but Vespiquen is now in people's mind. But yeah, I do think it's like a Pokemon that gets screwed over by abilities. Okay, we got Driftblim and wait, it's Drifloon and Driftblim. I like them. I would try using them one time, but I often end up like having a lot of ghosts to pick, and Drifloon just doesn't make the cut. Driftblim doesn't make the cut very often, but he is a fun Pokemon. There is a setup that you can do with a Wind Gem, because Drifloon and Driftblim have they have access to acrobatics, but they also have they have another ability that I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to look at it. Unburden. So what Unburden does is when they use up an item, they gain a speed boost. A flying gem is used whenever you use a flying move, and acrobatics does more damage when you don't have an item. And you use up the flying gem before you calculate the damage. So acrobatics does extra damage, gets the flying gem boost, and activates Unburden. And then I think Driftblim can learn Recycle, if I'm remembering correctly. Hang on, I'll sort the moves. Protect Facade. No. It might have been able to learn Recycle in another generation, but it can't now. Its other two moves, Aftermath and Flare Boost. Flare Boost, if I remember correctly, it gains like a boost to special attack? Yeah. Powers a special attack when burned. But it doesn't grant the immunity. And Aftermath, just to skip across, is damages the foe landing the finishing hit. In other words, it's an explosion. So yeah, I like Driftblim. I've never used him though in a proper team. Oh no, I just realized what was next. Oh no. It's Chatot. Folks, say hello to the reason we can't have nice things. Chatot had a unique move called Chatter. With the DS's microphone, you could get Chatot to repeat a phrase with chatter. You can see where this is going. Chatter is now a banned move, because its only gimmick was that. So Chatot, despite how brilliant of an idea you were a mediocre Pokemon, your design does not translate to 3D as well as one would wish, and you ruined... Well, no, you didn't ruin the idea, but your idea got ruined thanks to, well, what people do. I don't dislike you for it, but I can't say that I like you. But you are offensive. Munchlax. You were the worst. There was only one other Pokemon that has gotten this ranking, which was Pikachu. And Munchlax is going in here too, because Munchlax is a pain in the neck to catch. Because he only appears on one tree. Unless you get a Snorlax, which you can't get in Sinnoh, and then breed for it. But then if you try and love the tree, it's like you have a guessing game as to whether it's on the tree or not. And it's a mediocre Pokemon that you're catching in order to get Snorlax. And Snorlax is a decent Pokemon, I'm not going to argue otherwise, but the point still stands. There was no reason for Munchlax to exist other than to create pain, frustration, and a version of Snorlax with a lower catch rate. Actually, does Munchlax have a lower catch rate than Snorlax? Questions that deserve answers. Munchlax, catch rate 12.9. Snorlax, catch rate 7.7. Okay. That's not even double. I mean, the number here is double, but this one, ordinary Pokeball at full health, that's not double. So yeah, there was really no reason for Munchlax to exist. Riolu. You exist more or less to make Lucario more of a pain to get. I don't, like, hate Riolu, but it's a friendship level up. And an egg. And then we have Lucario, which is like... I wish I could like Lucario more, but it's like... It's a poster child. It's one of those mons that gets a lot of attention, and while I gave credit to Charizard, Lucario I can't do the same to, because Charizard had happened naturally. Lucario, it was kind of artificial. I like him, but they like really pushed Lucario. Really, really pushed Lucario. And so I feel like bad putting him higher than like. God, I'm realizing I'm a lot more negative to Hoenn. No, not Hoenn. Sinnoh than I have the past couple. Scorpio. No. Squirrel. It's bug poison. Scorpio. Then you have Drapion, which is poison dark. I like it, and at the same time, I don't. Like, Drapion's design is kind of... but I like its, like, poison dark with bug moves. And so it's like, I'd like it more if its design wasn't so, I guess, goofy. It does have, like, that over-designed sort of thing going on with its body segments being alternating colors, and then it's like, I don't know, it's supposed to be a scorpion, but I feel like they overdid it, and they could have leaned more into like the scorpion aspects instead of like this giant wind-up puppet sort of thing that they've got going on. Actually, I'm going to bring up a bigger image so I can make my point. God damn it, Boulderpedia, please. It's like they're getting DDoS or something. So think of it, like, ignore the back half of Drapion and just put, like... Just put, like, a, a wind-up box, like a jack-in-the-box thing going on. You see what I'm saying? It's the way I'm calling the design goofy. It doesn't feel like it's meant to be a scorpion anymore. Croagunk and Toxicroak. Croagunk I feel neutral on. Toxicroak has grown on me over the years. Like, he's definitely an interesting Pokemon, and I'd probably give him a chance now. But yeah. Snover! Snover, it's like, I like Snover, I like Abomasnow, but they are terrible Pokemon. They are terrible Pokemon. Ice Grass with Hail. They have, like, so many weaknesses. They are such a bad type combination. Hail doesn't do them any benefits because, well, Hail hurts every type except Ice types. And you don't want a full team of just Ice type Pokemon. So it's like, I wish they were better. But, you know, it's Ice type. Weavile. Weavile's similar to Sneasel. Weavile's grown on me over the years. It's an okay Pokemon. It's also Ice type. But it's just okay. Magnezone. The only good thing about this damn piece of garbage is that Magneton can use Evolite. Evolite means that it has the defensive stats of Magnezone at the cost of an item slot. And then its only trade-off is the exact number of stat points that Magnezone loses in speed and gains in special attack from Magneton. That is it. Magnezone is a terrible design. It looks awful. I hate it. I absolutely despise it. And Magneton is my favorite Pokemon. So you can see why it gains the worst category. I will never like Magnezone. It has never grown on me. Like, they could have done so much better with it. So much better. Yes, it is UFO-like. But I'll have to scroll down to it. No, I have to scroll up to it? Where the hell is Magnezone? Oh, don't tell me it's a post. Yeah, it's in the post game. Magnezone. Magnetone's dirty. I was looking for the shiny, that's right. That's its shiny. It's horrid. Now look at Magneton. Sure, Magneton shiny's nothing to write home about, but at least it's more interesting. So yeah, I hate Magneton. I despise Magneton. The only good thing about it is, again, the Evolite. And that is it. Yes, I feel very strongly about that Pokemon. Porygon Z! God, I love this goofy little thing. So for those who don't know, you evolve Porygon 2 into Porygon Z with what's called the Dubious Disc. The Dubious Disc is a corrupting piece of code. So Porygon Z is a corrupted Pokemon, or its glitch. I'll give an example by finding the sprite for it. So we'll go down, down. There we go, Diamond and Pearl's one. The ones up the top there. You see how it jitters about? That is Porygon Z for you. Like, they don't capture the animations for the later games, but it has that jittery animation, like it's ready to bug the hell out. That's why I really like Porygon Z. I've never used one before, because, well... Rotom? Rotom's not water electric. Unless you're talking specifically about Wash Rotom. We will get to Rotom though, because I'm pretty sure Rotom is... Yeah, Rotom's coming up. So yeah, I like Porygon. The problem is that Porygon is like... pretty much not available through normal means. You usually can't find them in the wild. They're pretty much found in restricted areas or through purchases, so it's kind of a shame. Porygon is like an interesting Pokemon, but kind of hard to use. Frostlass. God, I really like Frostlass. Ghost Ice. Again, Ice type. Terrible secondary type, but it is far more interesting than what Glalie did. It is a female-only Pokemon. And it is based on a wandering spirit of the Snowlands who steals thy soul. So it has got some scary Pokedex entries, which is a bonus in my book. But I like Frostlass. I've not used one before, and that's mostly because Snorunt is a late game Pokemon, because, you know, Ice type are not usually available early on, and in order to get one, you need a Dusk Stone, if I remember correctly, and of course it needs to be female, which Snorunt is a 50-50 split. Rotom. We're not going to go over Rotom's different forms, personally, but it's like... the forms are the only thing that make Rotom viable, as far as competitive goes, and I'll put them all over here just quickly, but to elaborate. Base Rotom. Ghost Electric. Oven Rotom, or Heat Rotom. Fire Electric. Wash Rotom. Electric Water. Ridge Rotom. Electric Ice. Sand Rotom. Electric Wind, or Flying. and Morotom, electric grass. Most people either run oven or wash, typically wash, because water electric is a decent type combo. You know, that's why it's a shame that Lantern from Gen 2 isn't decent and used more. Instead, we get Wash Rotom everywhere. So to kind of diagnose Rotom, it's like, I don't like it. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. Rotom's kind of that Pokemon that you either like the forms and like to use it competitively, or you think it's a joke and don't care. And I tend to fall more into the latter group because, honestly, I care more about the ghost typing, and because it drops that for its different forms, mainly it becomes a ghost, it becomes electric water. The whole point of it being a electric ghost, I'm going to say it, a poltergeist, is kind of lost on it. So yeah, I don't particularly like Rotom because I just don't see the point of form switching and the wasted potential of being electric ghost for the whole form switching thing. Oh, Regigigas. You lovable Titan. The continent puller. I love the design. I know, like, normally, like, I've hacked on, like, Dialga and Palkia for being over-designed, but I feel like Regigigas can pull that off. But it's like the continent puller. He has a horrible ability despite his massive stats. But most of all, like what most of the Regis, he has this stupid cry in the anime. I won't look up the reference because I probably can't find it at the moment. But basically, you know how most of the Pokemon in the anime say their name? You know, like, Cyndaquil. I can't do the impression. But the Regis, they have like a mechanical like jitteriness, so they go like Reggie. Regigigas has some of the dumbest voice lines. Like he's such a goofy. It tickles my insides. Darkrai. Oh, how much I wish to like... I like Darkrai. It's like that edgy edgelord, but you know is just... He's trying. He's trying so hard to be edgy, but he's not. Yeah! Oh god, and then you get into the whole Manaphy shiny thing. So, every copy of Ranger has one Manaphy egg. And when you trade that egg across to a Diamond, Pearl, or Platinum game, that game, the Manaphy egg will not be shiny in. But if you trade it to another one, it might be shiny. Note I said might. You would then need to trade it to you then need to test it by hatching. If it's not shiny, you then need to load back to when it wasn't a shiny, then trade it to another trainer, another game with a different trainer ID, and then try again. And again. And again. Why did Pokemon think this was a good idea? I mean, I guess this is the reason why we get shiny locked Pokemon. Like, legendaries are shiny locked. You can't get them as shiny because they don't want you resetting the game over and over again in order to get one. And I think starters are now shiny locked as well. It's like, come on. Where's the fun? The whole point of restarting over and over again was re-rolling the odds. What, you don't want us to save and restart and try over and over again? Then why do we have the ability to save and restart? I'm getting angry about mechanics that I don't really care about, to be honest. I'm not a shiny hunter. Shaman. Why do you exist? And then there's Skyform Shaman, which is like, we won't be raiding. I mean, yeah. And if we really wanted a shiny Pokemon, I mean, there's always the less than legal methods. And now we get to Arceus, or as people used to say, Arceus. I mean, I get what that we're intending. It's Arc. But it's like, there are so many forms because it has every single plate is a different form. Too many forms, bro. Yeah, so Arceus's thing is it can change its type by holding a different plate. And there is a plate for every type, so there are 20 forms? I don't know why. We couldn't catch one legitimately for the longest time. And it's another case of, why do you exist? Not those kind of plates. The plates we were collecting in Legends in order to be able to fight Volo. The one that what's her name was using as a cutting board. But yeah, Arceus is like the biggest problem. Not really the biggest problem, but he's like, you know, a really goofy Pokemon that is essentially, he's God. He is straight up God. So he's like, he's got to be the cap on how strong Pokemon can be, and yet we still get new Pokemon games and more ridiculously powerful Pokemon, and it's like, why? He's not over-designed, but he like causes like a lot of weird problems. And Victini is technically part of the next generation, so that was Gen 4. That was Sinnoh. I'm getting progressively more negative. Because look at that. A few neutral, a lot of dislikes, a lot more hates, and then this generation has 3 of the worst out of the 4 that I've had. 2 of them are for all of them are for personal reasons, really. Though Munchlax really isn't, but it's a case of opinion there. But yeah, that's Gen 4.